in the gospel recorded by John, the 19th chapter, verses 28 and 29. I'll be reading from the New International Version. Later, knowing that all was now completed, and so that the scripture would be fulfilled, Jesus said, I am thirsty. A jar of wine vinegar was there, so they soaked the sponge in it, put the sponge on a stalk of the hyssop plant, and lifted it to Jesus' lips. The fifth word, the word of anguish, I'm thirsty. If you push me just a little bit, I'll sit down here. But there's a few things I'd like to point out to us. I'd like to paint the picture first and foremost from Jesus' perspective to provide us with his ultimate purpose for our lives. And then hopefully before I'm done, I'll be able to paint for you John's perspective for the practical application. Thirst is a craving for liquids, which results in the basic instinct of humans or animals to drink. It's an essential mechanism involved in maintaining fluid balance. It arises from a lack of fluids and or an increase in the concentration of certain osmolytes such as salt. If the water volume of the body falls below a certain threshold, or the osmolyte concentration becomes too high, the brain signals, I'm thirsty. Continuous dehydration can cause a myriad of problems in the body, but it's often associated with neurological problems such as seizures and even renal failure. Excessive thirst, also known as polydipsia, is what Jesus was dealing with when he cried out, I'm thirsty. His thirst was excessive at this moment. If you are a careful Bible scholar, you will see at Calvary Jesus was offered 2 drinks. The first one he refused. The second one he personally requested. The second came just before 3 p.m. The first one came early that morning around about 9 a.m. Scripture says in Matthew chapter 27 that they came to a place called Golgotha, which means the place of the skull. There they offered Jesus wine to drink mixed with gall. But after tasting it, he refused to drink it. When they crucified him, they divided up his clothes by casting lots. The Romans first offered Jesus sweet wine mixed with gall. Gall was a poisonous liver bile. It was mixed with sweet wine and given to deaden the pain of dying. It was given to them to anesthetize them from what they were feeling. When they offered it to Jesus, he refused it because he was unwilling to dull the pain with narcotics or poison. Jesus decided that he would faithfully and fully endure the pain of the cross. Yet later in that same afternoon, Jesus himself requested a drink. For Jesus said, I'm thirsty. And the Roman soldiers gave him a drink of sour vinegar, wine mixed with water. The Roman soldiers who had come from Italy to Israel's hot climate realized how sick they would get drinking the bad water there. So Jerusalem's water was contained bacteria that could make them violently ill. So the soldiers had mixed sour wine with local well water. The sour wine was wine that had passed its time and turned into vinegar. And the soldiers had put it in the water hoping to kill the bacteria. This water and vinegar wine mixture was a sort of first century Gatorade. The soldiers on duty that Friday evening took along this drink for themselves because they expected to sit in the hot sun at Calvary until their duty was complete. That afternoon when Jesus said, "I'm thirsty," they took a 24-inch hyssop branch and dipped it in a sponge in their vinegar wine Gatorade and lifted it up to his lips, and this small act of kindness refreshed Jesus' thirst. Here's just a few observations, and I'm going to shut up and take my seat. This, what we see on Calvary's cross when he said, "I'm thirsty," was a picture of Christ's humanity. As he was here on earth, we saw wondrous miracles that Christ performed and gave proof of his deity. He spoke with divine wisdom, acted in divine holiness, exhibited divine power, displayed divine love. He lived among us and gave full proof of his humanity as well. He entered into the world as a babe wrapped in swaddling clothes. As a child, he increased in stature and wisdom. As a boy, he asked questions. As a man, he was reared in body, hungered, he slept, he marveled, he prayed, he cried, he wept and rejoiced. Yet here, in all of his godliness, he said, "I'm thirsty." Jesus was letting us know that he was showing us that he could identify